So I want to do a quick review of this fountain pen. This is called the TWSBI Eco. So that's TWSBI spelled TWSBI, and that's short for something, which if you want to look it up, you can go right ahead. But this is a very nice fountain pen that is very affordable. It sells for about $30, which maybe it's not super affordable for everyone, but given the range of fountain pens and how expensive they can get, $30 tends to be pretty affordable. You know, it's not a $3 Platinum Preppy, and it's not a $12 Pilot Metropolitan, but you're getting a huge amount of pen for the money. It's a all plastic body with some metal parts, or maybe all acrylic body with some metal parts. Has some high-end features from nicer pens like this piece at the end called the filial. It has a piston filler, which is crazy to see for under $40. Has a metal band here, so if you were to over tighten the cap, it would not crack. Nice heavyweight cap with a blind cap in there to prevent drying out. Pretty reasonable size pen, not too big, not too small. I think it's a very nice size for day-to-day use. It does post if you want, I think. Sort of. I would never post, I don't really post normal to large size pens, so it's not really an issue. I bought it with the medium nib. It's a pretty nice looking steel nib. It says TWSBI on it. You see that little logo. It's pretty cool. I think it's a nice medium. And it's also sold in an extra fine, broad, and stub, I think. So I think the medium is kind of the right for day-to-day use, although I think a lot of people tend to go with the fine. So as for the actual pen and the build quality, I think it's really phenomenal to see what they've done for $30. I think it's a really handsome pen. I bought it in the full clear. It's also sold in a clear body with a colored, like a white or black opaque cap, so you can't see any of the junk going on inside. And those versions also have opaque here. Again, just so you don't have to see any of the ink sloshing around in the very top or in the cap. Sort of like the messiness is hidden when you buy those. This area is obviously, or maybe it's not obvious, but it's filled with ink. It's not black, I promise. There's ink in there. And if it was to turn this, that ink would squirt out all over the place. So very nice build quality, nice feel, not too heavy, but there is some heft to it. I think the clip, while it works very well, it seems like a bit of a misstep to me. The clip is just like sort of bland. I think these split clips tend not to look as nice as a solid clip, but I'm probably splitting hairs at that point. As for the packaging and all that, it's again really nice. I think for a $30 pen, they knocked it out of the park. Typically, I'd rather see this at a $25 pen that doesn't come with any of this stuff, but whatever, that's just me. And maybe this stuff is easier and cheaper to produce than I would guess. You have the TWSBI logo again. Opening up the case, you see a pretty cool, classy user manual, a little wrench for taking apart the piston mechanism, and then some silicone grease for, again, when you if you want to lube up the piston over time. One interesting note with this pen is the section here is not removable. Those threads are for the cap, not for screwing out this piece. If you buy the upgraded model, the 580, then this section and the nib and feed, all of it can be removed. This one, you have to pull out the nib and feed. And I did that on my last pen, and when I put them back in, basically the pen leaked for the rest of it. So this is actually my second Eco in the past maybe 2 months. So this one's been fine, and I have not removed the feed and nib, and I don't plan on it because, again, maybe mine was just a lemon, but you could see how close that ink is to the end. You can see it right there, that little bubble. And mine, again, after I pulled out this piece, the nib and the feed, it just leaked and leaked, and there's nothing I could do. And eventually I tried to slam it back in there, and I cracked some of the little fins and whatever, and it was just bad news bears. So they are removable. Don't remove them. If you want to play with it, get the Diamond 580. Do a little writing, and this will be on the Triumph paper from Clairefontaine, which is I would say a very smooth paper, but probably not the smoothest out there. So it'll have a higher than normal drying time. And this is, by the way, with a very dark ink. This is the Akkerman Dutch Masters number 8 Rysdale Stormatig Bough. So Storming Blue. Very nice ink. Haven't used this pen in, I don't know, 6 hours, something like that. So we'll just start writing. And this is, again, so a little bit of a dry start there, but nothing bad. And this is the TWSBI Eco, which is the economical version. And this is in medium. It is a $31 pen, sold all over the place. Jet Pens, Amazon, wherever you buy your stuff from. And this is with the Akkerman's Dutch Masters number 8. I said storming, it's actually the Stormy Blue. So I would say for a medium, it has a nice flow, probably a little bit on the wet side compared to the most mediums I've had. And this ink is, I would say, on the thick side. I've had this pen, in my previous version, I had it with a very watery, quick drying ink. And this medium, wrote like a broad. It was just really quite wet. So I was actually pretty surprised, but now with a thicker ink, it's a lot more tame. It's a steel nib, not much variation, not much flex, maybe a little bit. But definitely not a huge amount. I'm not sure if you could hear the pen writing, but it does have that sort of audible feedback with the right paper, which I really like because it writes smooth. Sorry, not super smooth, not as smooth as, a Lamy 2000 or something with a gold nib, but it is still smooth. Even so, you do have that feedback sound. That's just scribbling. But anyway, you still have that feedback sound, which is really, really nice and has a sort of, an audible type feedback to it, or an auditory feedback. Maybe it's an oral feedback. So just to wrap it up, I think this is a really solid pen. With my first one, I didn't have a great experience, but that's because I was unnecessarily tinkering with it and trying to make it really cleaner than it needed to be. I should have just taken the ink. When I wanted to change ink, so I should have just shot it out, pulled it back in, pulled some water back in, and cleaned it that way. Instead, I was really trying to pull out the nib and the feed and really start playing with my new toy, and I went too far and probably broke it on my own. Either way, I bought a second one, and I really do like it in the medium, and I'll be buying a broad as well. So I'm doubling down, or maybe even tripling down on this pen. So really great fountain pen, highly recommended, and it's definitely my favorite fountain pen, in between something like this preppy. So if you want something more expensive than preppy and less expensive than, under $120, I would say this is definitely the one to get. I haven't used many of the other TWSBIs, so I can't speak so much to them. But from what I've read and what I've seen and what I've used, the Eco is the way to go. and you're not getting a whole lot of bang for your buck to upgrade to the 580 or the 580 AL. You know, you'll see some cooler features like that removable section and nib, but that section and nib unit on the Diamond 580 sells for like $28 or $29. This whole pen is $28 or $29. So I'm not really sure that those make dollars and cents. So that is the TWSBI Eco. Very solid pen, you know, by no means perfect. And you know, when you get something above the $100 price point, you know, like this Lamy 2000, you're gonna see a whole lot more pen for your money. But for what this is and what you get for the money, it's pretty impressive. So that's the TWSBI Eco. Thanks for watching.